To chasing the target. We've got a couple of matches coming up tomorrow, so we thought we'll do a quick preview. I have with me Mr. Prasad. How are you doing, bro?
Doing good, bro. Just excited for the cricket finally. A lot of football has been going on lately. Tomorrow is going to be a cricket day. Two series, one series starting, one series ending. So it's going to be interesting to watch.
Yeah, and when you have a lot of one sport, when you see another sport, you feel actually good that it's going on. Honestly, after the T20 World Cup, I was always looking forward to the football. I still am enjoying it, but it's good to have some cricket back. But yeah, let's with that news, let's go with fresh off the press because there's a bit of news regarding the cricket. With this segment, bro, is because there's rain around in that third one day as well between India and New Zealand. So that it can be rain affected again. Whether we'll get a result or not, we're not sure. It might be a shortened game. They might try to play 25, 26 overs like they did in the first match. So that's going to be an issue. So I think that's the first thing we have to discuss because there might not be any play at all.
Yeah, and it's going to be sad from an Indian fan perspective. बिल्कुल भी मजा नहीं आने वाला है एक ओडीआई हार गए फिर दूसरे में you had a bit of the feeling that Surya Kumar was starting to look good and एकदम से फिर बारिश हो गई and पूरा मजा किरकिरा हो गया जैसा बोलते हैं अपने पास but hopefully I'm praying that there's no rain and we can see some good quality 50 over cricket because uh, after the 2020 World Cup I think we've not been able to, apart from like one and the 2020 series the only 50 over match we were able to see was the India and the New Zealand one. So hopefully we get to see 50 over cricket because we want to get back as a viewer. Also, you want to get back into the 50 over agenda and being able to sit those 50 overs. Abhi 2020 की इतनी पूरी आदत हो गई कि जल्दी 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 you can do your thing and finish it off. But 50 overs is obviously a longer version of the game. So even as a viewer, you need to get yourself mentally prepared to sit for those many overs.
And when I saw that second game, suddenly said 20 overs. I'm like, oh, we're back to the T20 format. Yeah, but these things are not in our hands. I think Shubman Gill the other day was saying that they need to start looking at indoor stadiums. It's very frustrating for players as well. They do all that preparation mentally. They're prepared for the game. They do their planning and everything, and suddenly it rains. And it happens a lot, not just in New Zealand. It happens in India, England, everywhere. So they need to try and figure out how to solve that situation. But yeah, hoping that the rain stays away. We still don't know what's going to happen because the second ODI wasn't a good glimpse. But for example, if it doesn't, if it doesn't rain, the main talking point is again who plays Sanju Samson or Deepak Hooda.
Yeah, it's gonna be a hard one again. I feel like if I was like Lakshman, I would want Rishabh Pant to sit and play Samson and Huda. I think that would be my way of looking at things. Uh, but like if you need that extra bowler, then you would really need Deepak Huda. It's a call on the situation, I guess. Like what you want, what do you want, an all rounder, or do you just want a batsman wicket keeper? But with Rishabh Pant already in the team,
And
you have a wicket
Samson,
keeper.
yeah,
Yeah,
Huda and Samson instead of Pant basically, and play Huda as well for your bowling
yeah,
option. Because वो
yeah.
पहले मैच के बाद वो लोग they don't want to go with 5 overs, they want to go with 6. So I think Huda will definitely play. And then if you want to play Samson, then it's a straight swap with Rishabh Pant. Now whether they take that call or not, it's up to the management. The call is right there; they can do it. It's a straight swap.
Yeah, and I think this will speak volumes. बहुत ज्यादा आग लग जाएंगी मीडिया में अगर इन्हें नहीं करा सैमसन को और ऋषभ पंत को फिर फेवर करे. I think everyone is gonna go crazy. Internet explode हो जाने वाला है and Sanju will potentially be the.
कौन लोग हैं वहाँ पे वर्ल्ड फुटबॉल में फ्री सैमसन बोल के लाइक पोस्टर्स कम ऑन मैन we're with you उसका सपोर्ट वहाँ पे भी चल रहा है ड्यूरिंग लाइक अ ब्राजील गेम देयर इज लाइक संजू सैमसन पोस्टर्स एवरीवेयर.
Yeah, yeah, and the majority Indian fans, I think football के भी केरला के ही हैं. We seen. I mean, मैं recently कौन सी की वीडियो देख रहा था उधर लड़ाइयाँ हो जा रहा है और अर्जेंटीना ब्राजील के फैंस के बीच में चप्पलां
Yeah,
जूते
in Goa as well, I
नाम
think.
वाले रिक्वेस्ट. Yeah, so I mean, they really love their sports and I think obviously उनके घर का बच्चा है तो obviously उनको भी इसको भी back करेंगे. But hopefully like I feel कि Sanju and Huda should play and Pant should just take a back seat for tomorrow.
Actually on a great run, and if they win tomorrow, I think they leap India into first place. I think in that ODI rankings, they're actually doing really well right now in the one day format. They have a second squad. They've moved past the Martin Guptill and Trent Bolt situation. Like they have good backups so that the likes of Conway, Finalen have stepped up, and then with the ball, Matt Henry's come back into the thick of things. They have Adam Milne as an option. And then, the likes of Michael Bracewell, he's also adapting with Saturn to that all-rounder role. They have Nisham who got injured, but they do have plenty of options there. And now that team is settling in now, a good one-day team, and they're preparing well, I think, going into that 50-over World Cup.
Yeah, and the best thing is like they're coming up with backups for like potential people who are about to retire, like Southie and probably Bold in a few years. So you have like the likes of young players that are coming in. It's going to be good to see New Zealand in the 50-over format, and they're being playing some fantastic cricket, not only in just 20 format but 50 format like we saw in the first ODI as well. Uh, they were resilient, and I thought 306 would have been an easy game, but New Zealand took their time, used their experience, and yeah, they're shaping up to be a side to watch out for.
And with under the leadership of Williamson, they look a very settled squad, and he knows exactly which pieces to use during the game. He knows which bowler to bring on, which what type of batting order to have, and a lot of these players do have a lot of experience. And now the youngsters are coming in, and it's a good grade. I think they can learn off likes of Finn Allen. Probably they can learn off the likes of Williamson and Tom Latham, who's very experienced as well. It's a good balance. Same with the bowling. You have Tim Sadi there, but then you have and young Adam Milne, he can learn Matt Henry as well. So it's a good combination over there.
One thing that they'll need to plan out is like potentially we can probably say Kane Williamson has like 1 or 2 years left max if he's fit. So I think that leadership part is going to be a very big impact when he leaves. Like who's going to take the captain's armband and sort of work
Yeah,
on
I
that.
think they have a couple of players prepared for that, especially in Test and One Days. I think Tom Latham is a good shout. When it comes to that, he's a good option, and they will groom a T20 captain for sure, 100%. Because you're saying, I think he does have a few years, but T20 he might not have even years. He might have a few months or maybe
Exactly.
1 year max. So they'll definitely try to groom a T20 player, and they will take in T20 generally teams they take risks with T20 captains. But with one day and test, I think they're grooming Tom Latham because if you notice, even last year, Williamson was injured quite a few series. He had the tennis elbow problem, and Tom Latham took over. So they are grooming the players, and I think they'll have the right replacement.
Yeah.
But also in the news is someone else who's going to probably make his debut tomorrow. It's down under the West Indies Australia series, and it's Tag the Right Chandapal, not Shivra Ryan. It's Tag the Right Chandapal. Of course, our boy Chandrapal's son, and he's going to probably open the batting. It's going to be at Perth. How he does, I'm not sure. I've only seen glimpses of him. I haven't watched him properly. I'm really excited to see him. That stance also, I don't know if the stance is the same, man. I don't know if it's
Same,
the
yeah.
same.
वो legendary stance है यार वो just to walk around the ground. Pitch के अंदर ऊपर
पूरा
नीचे walk करता था चंद्रपाल.
अंपायर को ऐसा फेस करके एंड लाइक या इट्स कंप्लीटली डिफरेंट स्टैंस देखेंगे क्या होता also so he's going to probably debut tomorrow. The West Indies are taking on Australia. Also in the news, I don't know if you saw Justin Langer had a few words to say about the
Two
Australian
words,
team,
yeah.
and they're saying a few whistleblowers there, and also saying that the players didn't confront properly and everything. But Pat Cummins came and he clarified that in the press conference. He said, "We don't have anybody who titled here or anything like that. We're ready to play." And I think Langer tried to make an apology also after. He's also going to be in the commentary box in Channel 7. So I don't know if that's going to be awkward or normal, but with time, everything heals. So, yeah.
Yeah, I guess it's not going to be much of a problem. I think it's just a miscommunication thing or like probably a misunderstanding, which, I think these guys are more than
More than
mature
that, it's
enough.
probably just,
Yeah.
it's just pissed off at the moment.
Yeah.
There are no
But
cowards in the Australian team. That's what Cummins said because Langer did hint that dar puka hai like सीधा के नहीं बोले, and they went and like told sort of tattletales type कुछ बोला था उन्हें. So he said there's no cowards in the Australian team. So yeah, I think at that time they're pissed off. Langer also like felt that he did a lot for the team and he didn't get that same support, and then he lost his job. So I'm sure he was upset and he said it. But then, as the current captain, you have to avoid whatever is happening there, whatever is being said outside, and focus on your team. And Australia are a formidable side at home. So
yeah.
Against West Indies, also, I think the last time West Indies won a series against Australia was in 2003. You remember in the West Indies, we were watching at that time.
Yeah, Carl Hooper and those guys were there at that time.
Yeah, they chased 413 or 420 at that time. So that was the last match that they beat Australia, I think. After that, it's been very one-sided. Especially in Australia, it's been very difficult for the West Indies. they have a great bowling attack now, so there's a better chance. But then you need to bat as well. You have to handle the likes of Cummins, Hazelwood, and these guys. You have to face that. That's going to be the biggest test for the West
Yeah,
Indies.
and majority of this West Indies team is like young and like inexperienced, and those bouncy wickets, and वो भी एक चीज रहने वाला है कि आप कैसा वो कंडीशंस को अप्लाई करें। ब्रेथवेट्स न्यू कैप्टन वेस्ट इंडीज का क्रिकेट बेचारों का बोर्ड ही साथ में नहीं देता उन लोगों के like it's a very bichara kind of a feeling for the West Indies at this point of time, because at once we know what kind of level they had in cricket. I mean, not just the Calypso Kings time, like not just the 70s 80s, I'm wrong, like even the 2000s they used to be a side you would fear. You had the likes of like Chris Gale, Chandrapal, like we mentioned a few minutes ago, Carl Hooper, Darren Ganga. These guys were like good to watch cricketers, and on their day they would turn it up. And I mean, here you have, I think, the most experienced right now is Jason Holder, if I'm not wrong. Aljari Joseph's played a fair bit of cricket as well. Kemar Roach as well. Remember when he came on the
Experience.
scene? Yeah, remember when he burst onto the scene with Deccan
Yeah.
Chargers? We got crazy. We had Fiddle
I
Edwards.
think Kemar Roach is the oldest player. If I'm not mistaken, he's 34. I think Holder is 30, 31. So yeah,
Yeah,
Kemar Roach is actually probably the most experienced, and now it's about passing that baton to the likes of Alzari Joseph, Jaden Sills, who are much younger. It's about passing the baton to them. I think these guys will now take the West Indies forward, and Kemar Roach still has a bit of gas in him. I think he can pick
yeah,
up wickets. But for him, it's more about accuracy, line and length. Of course, he does have pace, but it's not the same as it was before. The likes of Jaden Seals, Azari Joseph, these guys will be looking to disturb the batsman, both the short pitch. And if that first pitch is anything like that India South Africa T20 that we
yeah.
saw in the World Cup, then there's going to be some action. I just hope it's a bouncy pitch, a bit of grass on it, and lively, because then you have both teams involved, and both teams have very good bowling lineups, and it's about who handles the pace better with the bat.
Yeah, and we know like Perth is known for its bounce, so I'm also predicting like bounce. But like if you were, let's say, Braithwaite going into this series, right? How would you sort of mold your like side, and what would your thought process be? And like you would just like think of draw karke at least get a respectable outcome out of the series, or would you go guns blazing? Like if you were like Braithwaite and the captain, how would you handle this West Indies team? It's just a question that I have.
I'm pretty confident because they had a very good home season last year. They've done really well at home in the Test series. And you say that okay, it was at home, but if you look at West Indies cricket in the last 6 7 years, even at home they've been losing. People coming, visiting them, and smashing them. But the way they beat Pakistan in that Test match, the way they beat England in this series, they've gotten that confidence at home now. That means they're not an easy team to beat anymore in home conditions. Now it's about translating that into away conditions. Look, they don't have anything going, no pressure on them. Nobody expects them to win. Everyone is saying 2-0 Australia, 2-0 Australia, Australia are formidable. If I'm captain, what I'm going all out, because if you lose, it's lose. It's a lot of people are expecting anyway. But I have four fast bowlers, play aggressive, set aggressive fields. Make it uncomfortable for Australia as much as possible. Don't, even if they're winning, don't let it be easy. Like go around the wicket, tell your bowlers to attack the body, use the pitch properly, and then with the bat, look, Brathwaite is a more conservative player. He does irritate Australia. You can say sometimes you have to be aggressive, but in Test matches, sometimes you can irritate the opposition by standing just standing at the crease. I think there should be a good blend between patience on the pitch and also aggressive cricket. Try to take it to Australia as well, because if you sit on the crease too much, then Australia will pounce on you, which we saw in the Ashes last year. England had a torrid time. And I feel that Australia sometimes, when they're playing against England, or they're playing against big teams, then they always have this extra energy. But when they're playing against West Indies or Sri Lanka, even Zimbabwe, sometimes they lose, they lose their concentration at times. And that's what West Indies have to capitalize. It's very difficult. You have like Steve Smith there, Manas Labuschagne, outstanding players. But if I'm Brathwaite, I try to translate that confidence from home turf to away turf, and it's about improvements, right? Even if you don't win the series, if there's an improvement there, if you make it tough for Australia, make life not easy, then uh, that's a
I
good.
think basically from what like you said, I feel like you're going with the mindset of like the Zimbabwe team right now, right? Zimbabwe, I
Yeah.
mean, they were more aggressive rather than being patient. Obviously, the 2020 over format, but what we saw in Zimbabwe was that fearlessness of performing, like they were just ready to go with every game. And like Sikandar Raza, you had your Craig Irvine and all of these experience, as well as like these new figurines that we just came across. So I think West Indies also, with the side they have, it's somewhat similar, obviously more new than old. But I think, yeah, mindset of aggression and patience would be the right balance to hit. Just about experience. Like, what, is Sunil Narayan retired? Like, is he not playing for West Indies right now, or like, what's his team?
He didn't get selected in the T20 as well. Him, Pollard, these guys have been having issues with the board. Also, Narayan had that action issue, and then he couldn't play for West Indies. Then after that, he became a T20 freelancer with the board. He doesn't have things, so he's not even playing T20. Forget about Test. He's a two-time T20 winner, World Cup winner, and if he's not being selected, he's not going to be selected for Test as well.
Yeah, and
And
it's
Test match, West Indies have already kind of changed it. They've already backed the youngsters and they've built this squad over the last 2 3 years, so it's a bit more experienced than it was like 3 years ago. So there is a bit of some players there who have done really well in Test matches so far. So I think they're sticking to that.
yeah, fair call. I mean, if you're not getting along with the board, then क्या ही कर सकते भाई आप कुछ सिर पे नहीं
Problem
बढ़ा
पहले
सकते.
से Zaman is a problem here with West Indies and the board. Like it's a long line, especially with the start of T20 leagues. It's become even more problematic. The relationship, Magar, yeah, that's why he's not there. But hopefully, wins like in Australia or like some big wins can get that confidence back in the team.
Yeah, I
And
just think the board also just needs to get restructured a bit. I think थोड़े बहुत अगर वेस्ट इंडीज के जो experienced player like Chris Gayle है, Brian Lara है, या Carl Hooper अगर है या नहीं, I don't know, but like अगर ये लोग start taking a bit of interest in this board, probably they because West Indies, the way I look at them, they have potential. Their players are massively like popular in T20 cricket, and some of them obviously like Brian Lara has been a cricket icon for everyone. I think growing up, every left-hander batsman has looked up to him. So I think West Indies really needs to like restructure their board rather than the players, and because इतना talent है भाई.
paisa. Like that's the thing, right? They won't spend it on Lara. They won't spend it on him. That's why he's in the IPL. He's in Sunrisers, and all these guys go to the IPL. It's the issue is financial issue. Unfortunately, that's what the problem is. Straight up, that there's no way to hide it anywhere else. And yeah, they do have a lot of talent, but even with the talent, the likes of Pollard, these guys have won you World Cups, and the way
Yeah.
they were handled, the situation wasn't handled properly. Whether I'm not saying it's only the board's fault. The players can act up at times as well, but दोनों तरफ से चलता. But जो भी है, they should have resolved it better because these guys have won you World Cups, and you should have shown more reliance on them. But unfortunately, it is what it is. You can't do much about it. What they have now, they have to make the most of it. And future, one thing I would say, they have to take their catches, man. अगर एक दो drop कर दिए Smith, Labuschagne को, तो फिर they will get punished. So along with patience and a bit of aggression, they need to be fielding well because in Australia it's very important to take your catches for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's wrap up the show with the fantasy tips and chips section. We'll pick players from both matches. You ready?
Yes, sir.
Game. Give me one player each.
One pair each from India. I will go again with Shikhar Dhawan. Despite not being able to perform in the second ODI, but वो wash out हो गया तो count नहीं होता. So I'm gonna go with Shikhar Dhawan. From New Zealand, I think it's going to be a Finn Allen special. I think Finn Allen is yet to start his innings the way he does. So I think Finn Allen. So always the openers.
I'm gonna go. I'm looking at this from New Zealand. I'm gonna go. Last time I went Kane Williamson, he did pretty well. I'll go Tom Latham this time because I think he loves playing India. That first one day he did really well, and I'm hoping for his sake that he continues his form. Also from India, probably it's a tough one. But I'm gonna go Umran Malik, man. Hopefully he gets some wickets. Excited to see, and Arshdeep also gave an interview saying he loves bowling with Umran. He's bowling a 150, and that allows him also to take wickets because then the batsmen have to adjust to the pace. So I'm going a bit wild card. So go Umran Malik as my thing. Then Australia West Indies, I can start off, and then you can, if you want.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
You always want to. I always ask you, and so from Australia, I'm gonna go with Steve Smith. I think he's looking good in the nets, and the last couple of years we've noticed that he hasn't scored that many centuries. His average is still 61 in Test cricket, man. That's like the best average. He's outstanding. He's a great Test player, modern great. I think for me, he's the best Test batsman right now. Of course, there's a lot of competition from Virat Kohli, Williamson, even Babar Azam, but Steve Smith is unbelievable as a Test batsman. Now let's see. Like he needs to come back. Like how Virat Kohli came back, he has to come back. Otherwise, people will start questioning him like they did Kohli. So it's time for Steve Smith to have a big series. It's not going to be easy. Like I said, they're going to target, and you saw how India targeted Labushin and Smith on the leg side. I think West Indies, if they're smart enough, they can also target them, set the leg side field, and try to get them caught. But yeah, for me, it might be Steve Smith's series. The next from West Indies. Again, there's plenty of options, but I'll go with Alzari Joseph, the extra pace on Perth. I think he can pick up wickets, and he's my pick.
Nice, nice. Mine is Usman Khwaja because I love his batting. Always gets a century or something in his test. He's something different. Not regularly seen in the international scene, but when he's playing, he's always a pleasure to watch. So I'm going to go with Usman Bhai, and from West Indies, I'm going to go with Kyle Myers if he gets a chance. All rounder, with the ball and the bat. So the deadly combination. And if he gets a bit of T20 mode, तो वहाँ पे भी मार सकता है थोड़ा बहुत.
And also, he's taken a 5 or 6 wicket haul against England in the West Indies recently. That was an unbelievable spell. I think he gave like 3-4 runs and picked up 5 wickets. So that's a very good shot, man. I like that Myers shot. I agree with you there. And also the Usman Khwaja, it's a good shot as well. Him and Travis Head, I think they both had brilliant Ashes series, and they batted really well. So yeah, good to see. Those are good picks. I kind of agree with them. We can go with those for sure. That pretty much wraps it up. Do you have any other thing that you want to discuss? Any questions?
Nothing, just waiting for the cricket to start and like test cricket after such a long time, and it's going to be fun to watch 5 days of cricket and soak in the atmosphere at Australia and Perth. So
Yeah,
always a pleasure to
there's a
watch.
bit of talk कि भाई like fans नहीं आने वाले हैं like because there's not much interest. But I think if we see a good match here, then it'll set the scene for Boxing Day. Boxing Day is always huge in Australia, right?
Yeah.
So I think, maybe you'll see fans. They like the Test cricket. I think now the season is starting. Hopefully, if we see some good cricket in the first few days, that will also attract the fans because you don't want empty stadiums. And the likes of England, Australia, South Africa, even New Zealand to a certain extent, they get good crowds in Test matches. So we would like to see that as well.
Yeah. Also, like being the holiday and festive season, I think people will just chip in to come and watch. So I think होगा कुछ तो भी हंगामा होगा. I just hope West Indies really put up a show and come well prepared and sort of show us the talent that they have, and hopefully they can get something out of it.
Maybe the rain stays away in New Zealand and we get a cracker in the West Indies, Australia. We also have on Thursday the Pakistan England. We'll get you the preview for that tomorrow. We'll get some more details from the press conferences. Of course, they're going to have a practice session tomorrow. It'll be optional, I think, but you'll have the pressers from both the captains. We'll get a better idea of how the teams will stack up. And then we can take it from there and give you analysis about that. And we'll review the games, whatever has happened, the cricket. We'll give you the review of those, of the day's play, basically. But yeah, that wraps it up, guys. Thank you so much for joining me. Make sure everybody like and subscribe to our channel, our new channel. So any support that we get is much appreciated. We'll continue to get the latest cricket content. And of course, we have a football channel called Chasing Green Arrows. You can get all your football content there. Let's focus on fantasy football. Of course, so when you play fantasy, you need to have knowledge about all the football games. So we watch all the games, discuss all the games there. We have,
and yeah, I mean, just to add, hopefully even the cricket part, when IPL comes and the World Cup comes, the fantasy will help, and we'll probably discuss about fantasy picks like we do,
yeah,
which will help you in your fantasy world of IPL and World Cup, cricket World Cup and T20 World Cup. So we're getting
100%.
there, but hopefully you guys support us along the way.
Yeah, and we'll get our guests, hopefully some special guests as well. They can join us and discuss cricket. It's always fun to discuss cricket. I know that sometimes it looks like there's too much of it, but it's always fun to watch cricket. So make sure you guys join us, like and subscribe. You can ask your questions anytime, even when we're not live. You can send us questions on Twitter, on the YouTube comment section, on Instagram, and we will answer as much as we can. And always feel free to give your opinion, man. It's a fan sport. Anyone can say anything. It doesn't matter. Of course, there's certain boundaries you don't want to cross, but it's always good to put your opinion across. We don't have to agree with it. So yeah, thanks, bro. Enjoy the games tomorrow, and I will catch you after the matches and look forward to the England-Pakistan Test match as well.
Yes, sir.
Have a good night.